I'm Plener. I'm the Director of M&A for the Vertus Group. In the introduction stage, companies will speak to some of our business development representatives. The first calls, the business development representatives will ask really about the business. They'll get a better understanding of the platform and the software, the business model and how the revenue is earned, the employee structure and how many employees the business has, and what the goals are. So how does the owner or the founder or the management team view the future? What do they want to see in the future? How do they want to succeed? And more importantly, how can we help them succeed? I think where we succeed the most is getting to know the people that made the business and making sure that we are the right home and aligning expectations and just aligning goals to make sure that if we do go through the process, there is an honest and open line of communication and we are all on the same page of what the expectations are. Our role is very relationship-based. It's making sure that we establish the rapport and create the relationship with the founder. We'll never move forward in a process if both parties aren't aligned or if we feel that maybe we won't be the best acquirer or we can't do the business justice and really help it grow and help it succeed and give it the tools that it's looking for in a potential sale. So the NDA stage is vital. It's very important for both parties. And I'd say it's very important for the seller or for the management team to better understand that there is sensitivity and confidentiality within their data. And that it also helps from our perspective where we can move forward in the process knowing that there's comfort and there's a set agreement in place between both parties where we can ask the right questions and we can gather the right information. Once we sign an NDA, we'll move into the gathering of information and we'll gather what we call preliminary questionnaires. It's really just an understanding of the income statement, the balance sheet, some customer breakdowns, some employee breakdowns, and then some legal documents. So things like the org structure, the shareholder register, and really understanding who owns the business. And from there, we'll just work internally. Usually it takes us, I think our average time is around 12 to 14 days. To formulate an offer. What we try to do is when we're signing an NDA, we want to be confident that we are going to put out an offer and that we are confident that there's a potential fit where we can move forward and we see an opportunity to move forward. When we gather the information, we will go back with some questions and we'll have some more conversations. So we'll loop in some of our business experts if there's potential synergies, and we'll have a better understanding of, how can we make this business great? How can we work together? And hopefully our valuation will reflect that. I think we're very different when we gather information because it's a conversation. It's us genuinely just trying to learn about a business. And although the financials and the fundamentals are extremely important, I think what's most important to us is understanding that fit and getting to know the person and getting to know the actual business. And if we have an understanding of the business, it is much easier to understand the financials. There's a lot that goes into these businesses. Founders and the people in it have worked super hard and it's very admirable and impressive what they've built. So we just try to do it justice. And by us having more conversations and building the relationship, it's easier to understand the financials, and then it's easier to make sure we're giving the fair amount of value for the business. When we move through the process and we do our initial due diligence and we obtain some more information, we'll provide a letter of intent. And that letter of intent will essentially be a simplified version of a said purchase agreement. And the letter of intent will go over the key assumptions we've made. It'll go over the purchase price and the different aspects and structure of it. And it'll go over some other legal terms like representations and warranties and survival periods. And it's really meant to make the next stage of the process simpler. We try to lay out all of the assumptions and lay out some of the legal items so that when we move to the purchase agreement, it's quicker and it's simpler and there's a mutual understanding. I'd say the most important thing as we move through the letter of intent stage is having good legal counsel on both sides, including our side. Our in-house legal team is really good at getting through concerns quickly and finding a reasonable and fair solution to any concerns or problems that may arise. Due diligence is a different animal, if you'll call it. It's a lot of requests, but we try to keep it in a concise, clear, and organized fashion. How the process works is we'll send a checklist, a number of questions in specific areas around tax and financials and IP and IT security and HR and legal and contractual obligations. We keep it very organized and we'll gather all the information. Once we've gathered all the information, we'll review it, we'll ask follow-up questions. We'll do all the work behind the scenes, and we'll set up for these diligence sessions. The sessions will be a technical session, there's usually a finance session, there's usually an HR session, and then the big meat is we'll do a 1 or 2 full day deep dive into the business. And what these days are is essentially us sitting down with the management team and the key employees of the business, and better understanding the business as a whole. And what these in-person sessions do is they help us better understand the entire business, from the sales and marketing arm to the professional services arm, to how they think about maintenance and support, to how they think about employees, to pretty much everything. We'll fly out and we'll do this in person, so we'll come really wherever the business is. We're happy to bring our team there, and we'll do this in-person session. When we move past the in-person session, things start to pick up a little quicker. So why do they pick up quicker? Because we've gathered all the information, we've had the conversations, and chances are we'll be comfortable at that stage that all our diligence is pretty much done and we can move forward. I think what makes us different, and I think what we do really well, is just from a timing perspective. We set these up and we're very organized, where we move through these processes very efficiently. We can close within 45 days. Our average close time is closer to 60 days, but we push to close within 45 days. And really what dictates that timing of why is it 45 days, why is it 60 days, is really related to the purchase agreement and how quickly we can get through commentary. The approval stage is really the last thing. It is approval from both sides. It's the final stages of approval from our board, and to make sure we can proceed with the investment, who is involved throughout the investment, and they come and they're involved in diligence. And then more importantly, it's approval by the seller and the shareholders of the seller. The 3 days before close are essentially wrapping up the purchase agreement, making sure that all of the management team and whoever's been involved in the conversations is ready and is comfortable for the next stage. And then it's us really walking them through what the week after close is going to look like. It's walking them through and making sure they're comfortable with, what the expectations are going to be post-close. The last thing we'd want to do is close a deal without setting expectations of what the partnership and what the business is going to look like. And it's just making sure that everyone's ready, because once you sign, it's a big accomplishment, and it's a lot of hard work and the culmination of a lot of hard work and a lot of effort from a lot of people. So hopefully we can celebrate a little bit when we get those signatures on the paper, and then we can cheers to a good future. What we'll do right after close is meet with any employees that did not know about the transaction. So we'll have a company-wide meeting where we will let the management team talk to their employees before we come in, and they'll explain what's going on, what the situation is, and then right after we'll come in and we'll give a full presentation of who we are, what the value we saw in the business, and what life is going to look like. Most of the time, life is going to look very similar post-close than it did pre-close. We don't go in and shift the business or shift responsibilities. We go in with the mindset of how do we help, how do we support, and how do we grow the business. This meeting is really an opportunity to field questions and make sure everyone's comfortable. Again, we'll likely do it in person so we can come out and meet everybody. And it's a good opportunity for employees to get comfortable. We have a lot of people who have been through acquisition here and rose through the ranks. They always talk about their scariest moment was the day after close. They just, what's going to happen to me? What's going to happen to the business? And I think that's where we're different, and what we do well is we try not to change too much. We try to keep it disruptionless, and we try to just help the business get better and implement some best practices. And there is reporting structure, and there is a lot of work that comes in post-close. But in terms of day-to-day and how employees are impacted, it's quite minimal.